right. Good Tuesday evening, South Carolina weather watchers. Hopefully, everyone has had a fantastic Tuesday. I am your meteorologist, Peterson, and let's go on and talk about the weather for your Tuesday evening going into our future. We have some stuff that we're going to talk about tonight. We have some stuff that we are going to talk about tonight. Obviously, the persistent heat, hot and humid conditions will continue this week as we go all the way through Friday. Heat advisories are in effect right now for the coastal regions right now. I believe the coastal low country. And even, no, just the coastal low country right now. And that might even extend more into Thursday and Friday. Also, scattered to numerous showers and thunderstorms continue daily and are still going to continue. Flash flooding, isolated flash flooding will continue through the majority of this week, and then we will get a higher risk of some flash flooding going into this weekend as we have slight risk of excessive rainfall already in effect as we go into this weekend. Cooler temperatures, obviously, with the cold front as well. And then, pretty much for now, that's pretty much all that we're going to talk about for tonight, most likely. If you have not hit the like button or the subscribe button, you have to make sure you go on and do so. We are one subscriber away from 550. That is the halfway point of 600. That is our goal. 600 is our goal, but we are only one subscriber away from getting to that 550 short-term goal. So let's go in and get there. We can get there as early as the next couple of minutes. Just matters if you go on and share it, or if you are not subscribed yet, to go on and hit it. And also the like button as well. 4 people are in here and only 3 likes right now, so make sure that you go on and do so. Let's go on now and talk about what's going on right now throughout the entire state of South Carolina. First, we do have some rainfall activity going on that goes all the way up here inside of the upstate of South Carolina. That goes all the way through Walhalla, going all the way down towards Clemson Central, Sandy Springs, Anderson, going down over there near Iva, and also around like the Calhoun Falls area. We also do have some rainfall going on over here near Manning, going into Somerton, going into Orangeburg, going into Springfield, Norway, Bamberg, Barnwell, and Aiken as well. Now, this for sure has to be causing some sort of thunderstorm activity. You can see that pretty much, this has a 33% chance that at least this area of showers that we were just watching for from Aiken, Orangeburg to Manning has a 30% chance of spawning in some lightning. A pretty high chance, like a 93% chance over here, right here near Allendale, of a storm right now going on. And also over here near Walhalla, in Salem, 85% chance of that being a thunderstorm. And also down here near Fairplay, South Carolina, that has pretty much a 95 to 100% chance of having some lightning with it. So there are indeed thunderstorms going on. But what's going on throughout the entire U.S. in terms of just current conditions? We do have some rainfall right now going on in West Virginia and Virginia. North Carolina having some rainfall, as well as Georgia and Alabama. Florida getting some rainfall, as well as Alabama, Louisiana, South Dakota, Nebraska, going into Wyoming, and Colorado have some storms going on with gusts of up to 70 miles per hour, 75 miles per hour. Going through South Dakota, Iowa getting some rainfall. And looks to be just some pretty intense storms going on over here as we have that chance for severe weather up there. But for right now, obviously that's not what's going on in South Carolina. For cloud cover, pretty much the entire state of South Carolina is covered with cloud cover. That goes all the way from the Midlands down towards the coastal regions up into the upstate. Most people right now are covered with clouds. If we go into our cloud cover for the future, you can see that pretty much that pattern will continue. This is 7 o'clock in the morning right here. Yes, we do have some clear spots. You can see some clear spots, but for the most part, most people will be covered by cloud cover as we get into tomorrow morning. Now, as we get into like tomorrow afternoon and maybe even the early evening time frame, that cloud cover will start to break up a little bit more, but that cloud cover will still be dominant over most of the state. Now, will this mean everyone will be overcast? Most likely not. There definitely, like I said, will be some regions that might not even see too much cloud cover at all. Just matters. I mean, this is based on just percentages and what's the percent chance of you having some cloud cover in this in your area. And for most people, that's in the blue, 100%. If you're in the white, that's a 0%. It's just the cloud cover total percentage. Going into our current temperatures, 82 in Columbia as well as 80 in Orangeburg, 81 in Sumter as well as 81 in Florence, 81 in Conway as well as 82 in Myrtle Beach, 82 in Somerville as well as 84 in Charleston. We also do have around 80, also 80 near Greenwood and also 80 in Anderson. Going even in the 79 in Greenville, Spartanburg, Gaffney, and 80 in New York. So obviously a huge improvement from what we have been seeing the past couple of days. A huge improvement in the 80s to maybe even 70s. This is kind of what the morning temperatures are usually like, and we're we're already pretty low right now. So this obviously, obviously with the cloud cover being over us, covering up that sun a lot more, and then obviously with the thunderstorms popping up throughout the state, that's obviously going to cool it down. That's obviously what happened, and so we're not in the mid 80s. Some people obviously not in the 90s, as we saw a couple of nights. Unfortunately, those low temperatures, though, are not going to change. 73 in Greenville and Spartanburg, as well as 74 in Anderson. 74 in Barnwell, as well as 75 in Orangeburg. 75 in Walterboro, as well as 75 in Moncks Corner. 80 in Hilton Head Island and Charleston. 77 in Georgetown, and 78 in Myrtle Beach. 75 in Florence and Cheraw as well. So those low temperatures will still be the same. They're not going to be too different. In terms of precipitation, for our total precipitation amount, 100th of an inch to a 10th of an inch, that goes all the way from Charleston going into Hilton Head Island, going into Kingstree, going into Rock Hill as well. Then even Myrtle Beach is also included in there, 10th of an inch to a quarter of an inch for like Dillon, going into Florence, going into Camden, Winnsboro, and Greenwood. Aiken is included in there, quarter of an inch to a half an inch for like Barnwell, Walterboro, going into Moncks Corner, and also in Sumter, half an inch to an inch from Spartanburg as well, and then going into some other locations most likely. But, that goes all the way to potentially an inch and a half to 2 inches, where some people could potentially see up to 2 inches of rainfall, again, as we move through tonight, going into tomorrow night. Now, not much to say for the SPC outlook. I can pretty much say the same thing. Here's Tuesday. Tonight, here's Wednesday, and here's Thursday. And obviously the thing that all of these days have in common is that, number one, thunderstorms are possible, nothing severe or anything like that, but obviously post-thunderstorms are also a thing, so, you may have a brief severe thunderstorm. We did actually have a brief severe thunderstorm today, and that had those wind gusts of up to 60 miles per hour. But the other thing that it has in common is not only is it covering the entire state as well. So not only, like I said, is it just thunderstorm, just regular thunderstorm with just no threat for any sort of severe weather, maybe some post-thunderstorm, like I said, but there obviously is that chance, obviously, for it to go through the entire state. So it's a pretty widespread threat. All the ingredients are there. That goes all the way from the upstate all the way towards the coastal region. So everyone will have that threat for some potential thunderstorms as we move through. Now, the main thing, though, is that excessive rainfall. So this goes from tonight right here. This is Tuesday night going into early Wednesday morning. That goes all the way from Greenville going into all the Midlands, all the upstate, all of the PD, all the Grand Strand. The only place that is not included is down here near like Key Island, Beaufort, Ridgeland, Bluffton, Hilton Head Island. Those places are the only regions that are not included in that isolated risk for some flash flooding tonight. But tomorrow, same thing, that isolated risk of flash flooding, the entire upstate, Midlands, PD, Grand Strand, most of the low country, Tri-Counties included, but over here, again, same regions, Ridgeland going into Bluffton, Hilton Head Island, Beaufort, Key Island not included. Day 3, this is where we take a little bit of a break for Thursday going into Friday, but it still encompasses, again, most of the upstate going into the northern PD region, but this is when it starts to get a bit serious. Day 4, this is Friday going into Saturday morning, Friday morning going into Saturday morning. That slight risk of excessive rainfall that's taking place all the way, again, the entire upstate, the entire Midlands, PD, Grand Strand, most of the low country, except for this little area over here, like Fairfax, Hampton, Ridgeland, Beaufort, Bluffton, Hilton Head Island, Key Islands, all included. only just for a minor risk of flooding. Now, obviously, that can change, but I don't think much has changed since yesterday. I'm pretty sure this was the same exact thing that we saw yesterday. And then day 5, this is Saturday going into Sunday. Again, that includes this time the entire Low Country, the entire Grand Strand, most of the Midlands, most of the PD, and then the area that's not inside of that scattered flash flood risk. Only in the isolated flash flood risk, we're level 1 out of 4 is over here in the upstate. I'm going into the northern PD region and Midland area. So flash flooding is on the way. I mean, overall, people could get 2 inches of rainfall, all the way up to around 5 inches of rainfall in a short period of time, which is why we have this slight risk of excessive rainfall out. These thunderstorms will be moving through. We're going to have widespread thunderstorms throughout that time frame, and that's why we have this slight risk here. So let's go on now and talk about the models. We're going to start off with the short-term one just for tonight, going into tomorrow morning first. Starting off, you can see time in the top right corner of your screen. Make sure that you go on and pay attention to that because that is going to be important. There's the low pressure right there that we're looking at. As we go on and push this forward, you can see that most of that rainfall will actually move its way west by the time we get to around 12 o'clock in the morning. There still will be some showers going on throughout the state. And then there may just be like some leftover droplet sprinkles left as we continue through the overnight hours. But then once you get to 7 a.m., rainfall will, again, just still be just in that isolated stage, not seeing much. But there will still be some possible. Once you get to around 12 p.m., noon, all the way to 1 p.m., that's when you can start to see that shower and thunderstorm activity start to kick right back up. This is 1 p.m. right here, going all the way into 2 p.m. Shower and thunderstorm activity is showing pretty much just some isolated stuff for now, but that will grow as we get more into it, the 4 to 5 p.m. time frame. You can see that thunderstorm activity will go all the way from the upstate, going all the way to the Midlands, going to the Low Country, going into the PD region as well. And once you get to around 7 to 8, maybe even 9 p.m., still, they will be occurring. But again, you're not really looking too much for any sort of widespread severe weather or scattered severe weather. Again, there is that chance for like a severe thunderstorm or 2 or 3. But for the most part, it's mostly just thunderstorms with gusty winds and maybe some small hail. But that's it for pretty much just this day for tomorrow. As you continue through, that isolated flash flood risk will also still be there as well. 12 o'clock in the morning on July 31st, the last day of July, shows rainfall going on up there inside of the upstate. And then once you get into around like the 4 to 5 a.m. time frame, still showers and thunderstorms going on up there. Once you get to around like 1 to 2 p.m. again, we're just going to be repeating that cycle over and over again like we see daily. That rainfall activity. Now, again, isolated flash flooding is also possible on there, but that day for Thursday, that day is just for the upstate. The upstate's really going to be the only area that gets that potential for that isolated flash flooding as well, but you never could rule out any sort of localized flash flooding in any other region at all because this is still summertime. But the main area that we're watching for is up there in the upstate, in the northern PD region. But that's it for our short-term future. Let's talk about the long-term future. So we're going to go even further. We can look at, obviously, Friday going into Saturday and Sunday when that flash flood risk is here. Looking at Friday first, you can obviously see the low pressure, and you can already just see all of that rainfall that's going to be falling. Again, this is the low resolution, so it's not going to be exactly like this, but it's interesting to see just how high those precipitable values will get up to. And then also just how widespread it's going to be. Even once you get to around like August the 2nd, this is Saturday night right here, it's still showing rainfall. Sunday looks a little bit more drier for places the more inland you get, but like the Low Country still will potentially still be receiving some shower thunderstorm activity as you go into Sunday. But that can change. No, but that's just what we're looking at for right now. And then once you get to around that August the 4th time frame, August the 5th comes along, and there still is some rainfall going on, even going into August the 6th and the 7th. So this active period is still going to continue. This active period is still going to continue even as you get into August the 8th, August the 7th, August the 9th as well. But then once we get to around August the 11th, we really can't go too much further than this just because it's, way too far out. But we can just look at patterns though, and it just shows that pretty much it's seeming like we might have some more active activity. But one other thing that I do want to look at, obviously, is with all of this active rainfall that we're going to be getting. I've been talking about it for a little bit now. But obviously, the cold air that's going to be behind it. There will be a cold front that passes through this weekend. And it will bring, obviously, those cooler than average temperatures. For example, this is 2 p.m. on August the 2nd. We could potentially receive temperatures around 60 degrees, potentially in the high 60s, as we get into that August the 2nd time frame at 2 o'clock p.m., which is a huge cool down from what we're seeing on Monday and Sunday. A huge, huge, huge cool down. And so one thing that I will say is that, in terms of these high temperatures now, they probably will get higher. The more even into like the evening you get, that's just one snapshot. But for example, I mean, you can see over here, 70s down there to like our south and west. They're still up there in the 90s, as we have our cool air over us at that time frame. So relief is coming this weekend, but if you continue in thinking, oh, well, maybe it'll last a good little bit, unfortunately, we'll be right back into those 90s as early as August the 5th and the 6th for sure, with those heat index values being right back up into those 100-degree marks. So we will have a little cool down. Will it be for a long time? Absolutely not, as that heat will return. I mean, even as late as August the 14th, I know I shouldn't be going this far out, but I mean, it still shows temperatures around like that 98-degree mark or high 90 mark by the time we still get into August the 13th. So we are nowhere near done with this heat yet. Still nowhere near done with this heat yet. So that's it for our look at our future and just the models in the cold front that's coming through this weekend. Also, we talked about that flash flooding as well. So let's go on and talk about the tropics. The tropics. Tropical cyclone activity is not expected during the next 7 days. So we are still good in terms of the tropics for now, over here in the Atlantic at least over here in the Atlantic. But if you continue over into the crazy score, we are at a 67. We are at a 67. No, I'm not going live. But obviously storms are still happening, heavy rainfall is still happening, but obviously just that high oppressive heat that's going to occur even as we go into tonight in the 80s near the coastal regions, in the high 70s and even the low 70s still. That will continue by the time we even get into tonight. So that's the reason why we are at a 67 inside of the strong category. And so that's it for the crazy score. Let's go on now. Since I believe, let me make sure I covered everything. I did pretty much talk about everything on my list that I wanted to talk about. So let's go on now and talk with the audience. If you want to be a part of the audience, you can by joining us at 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern. Let's see what the audience has to say for tonight. Starting off with Mr. Grace, who says, good evening, everyone. A bunch of thunder and lightning here in Moncks Corner, but no rainfall yet. Remember to hit the like button and the subscribe button to the channel. If you have not hit the like button or the subscribe button to the channel yet, make sure you go in and do so. We are at 549 subscribers last time that I checked. Hopefully we're at 550 sometime tonight, or if not right now. I have no idea. But last time I checked, we were at 549. We are only one away from 550. He said also remember to stay hydrated and stay in the cool. The heat is no joke, obviously, even as we go into the next couple of days as well. That heat will still continue to just boil out there, even though we've gotten past the hottest portion of it, which was obviously Sunday and Monday. We're still going to have some hot temperatures, especially near the coastal regions. Mr. Anthony says, good evening, everyone. Good evening to you. My name says, Evening Jay did absolutely nothing today. Thunder a lot, but no rain. Pretty much the same at no, I take that back. We actually did get 100th of an inch of rainfall at my house today, but I had 1,670, let me check that out, 1,646 lightning strikes. That was close. But 1,646 lightning strikes was recorded from my weather station in my backyard today. So a lot of lightning, a lot of thunder, but not much rainfall. My cousin Thad says, "Good evening, just I trust all is well with you. It was a hot one today. Please tell me rain is on the way." We will talk about San Antonio in just a second. He also said my grass looks a little like hay. I need some rainfall to get it back right. I'll talk about we'll talk about that rainfall as well. And then also, I know you're in that D3 drought, which is not the highest of the droughts, but still pretty high up there, though. Trail says, "Greetings, everyone, and rainy day and heavy thunder." Thank you so much for that report. Greetings to you as well. Tremont75 says, "Stationary front? No. No, not really too much of a stationary front. I mean, it's just a cold front that's going to bring a bunch of that moisture with it. And then obviously those slow-moving thunderstorms, just regular slow-moving thunderstorms that we have. I do not believe so, that it is a stationary front. But I can go on and check out the weather forecast maps. Yeah, no, there's no stationary front right here that I am looking at right now. It just seems to be just like a bunch of rainfall going on. But yes, no stationary front for us right now. And then my aunt Shirley says, "Blessing to all, a little relief from the heat starting Thursday here in Raleigh." That is fantastic here. We'll talk about Raleigh as well, and we'll talk about, obviously, the rainfall and the temperatures and stuff like that as well. But speaking of those locations outside of South Carolina, let's go on and talk about them. The 4 locations that we talk about outside of South Carolina, being San Antonio, Raleigh, Philadelphia, and Duncan, Oklahoma. The reason why we talk about those locations is because we have people from those areas who are tuned in, supporting, obviously, the channel. And so, to give back, I go on and give them their forecast. It's relatively short, only around 2 to 3 minutes or so for all of them. So, it's not that long. But let's go on and start off with San Antonio first, with low temperatures tonight at 71, high temperatures tomorrow at 101, and low temperatures tomorrow night at 76. No precipitation is expected tonight or tomorrow, or even tomorrow night. And unfortunately, it's looking like you don't have any sort of any chance for any sort of rainfall until Saturday, and it's only at 20% for now. So, unfortunately, you're not going to get any rainfall for a good little bit until this weekend, most likely. But again, that can change. But for right now, it's not looking the best right now. Now, in terms of severe weather, there is no severe weather that is expected. And then in terms of excessive rainfall, there is indeed there actually is a threat, that goes into that day on Saturday, like I was talking about. Friday going into Saturday, you do have a minor risk for some flash flooding. So obviously, flash flooding not the best, but it's rainfall. So honestly, I would look at the rainfall side of it, not the flash flood threat of it. Obviously, areas over there have already been hit pretty badly with floods, so I don't wish floods on anybody. But like I said, the rainfall will be beneficial for you if it's only, just something minor. Going into Raleigh, that being the next location, with low temperatures tonight 74, and then high temperatures tomorrow at 94, and low temperatures tomorrow night at 76. No precipitation tonight, but tomorrow, slight chance of thunderstorms tomorrow and tomorrow night as well. Now, in terms of severe weather, there is indeed no threat for any sort of severe weather as we move through. But as we go into tonight, for excessive rainfall, some excessive rainfall is possible pretty much every single day from Wednesday going all the way into Saturday. Wednesday is an isolated risk. Thursday is an isolated risk of flash flooding. Friday is a scattered risk of flash flooding. And then back to that isolated risk on Saturday. So the highest day right now is probably Friday. So if you were to go on and expect the most amount of rainfall right now, it's looking like Friday will be that day. And yes, it is going to start cooling down a lot by the time you get to around Friday and Saturday. I mean, Friday 88, Saturday high of 81, but that's again for not only Raleigh, but also down inside South Carolina as well, as that cold front moves through. Philadelphia being the third one, with low temperatures tonight 77, high temperatures tomorrow at 98, and then low temperatures tomorrow night 76. No precipitation tonight or tomorrow, but tomorrow night, slight chance of showers tomorrow night. There is indeed a chance for some severe weather for tomorrow. Again, it's only isolated damaging wind risk. It's pretty low. It's a low risk, but it's there. Again, gusty winds possible, and there's a potential for some isolated damaging wind gusts of up to 60 miles per hour to move through. Now, in terms of excessive rainfall for you, there is a scattered risk of some flash flooding, so a slight risk. That is for Thursday going into Friday, and then that's it. So scattered flash flooding is possible on Thursday. And then the final location, that being inside of Duncan, Oklahoma, with low temperatures tonight 75, and then high temperatures tomorrow 102, and low temperatures tomorrow night 74. No precipitation is expected at all tonight. And then in terms of excessive rainfall first, you actually do have a chance for some minor flooding on Friday and Saturday as well, for Friday and Saturday. And then in terms of severe weather, no severe weather is expected at all. And that is it for those locations. So what's going on weather news-wise throughout the entire U.S.? Severe thunderstorms capable of producing damaging winds and isolated large hail and heavy rainfall are possible across the northern and central plains. Monsoonal thunderstorms may produce heavy rainfall and possible flash flooding across New Mexico. Dangerous long-duration heat will continue over much of the central and eastern U.S. We also do have some fire conditions in Oregon, California, Nevada, and Utah. We also do have tsunami warnings out over there, or tsunami watches out, over there for Hawaii, as a earthquake, 8.0 magnitude earthquake hit near Russia, and that will bring that chance for a tsunami to come through towards Hawaii, as tsunami watches are out for them as well. And then obviously another big thing is obviously the Category 3 Hurricane Iona, that is going on out there inside of the Pacific as well. That's moving just to the south of Hawaii as well. And that's pretty much going to downgrade into a tropical storm pretty fast. I mean, as early as 8 p.m. on Thursday. But it's going to remain a major hurricane even as you move into tomorrow morning, though. We're not tomorrow morning, but like early tomorrow morning, like 2, 3 a.m. But it will downgrade back to a Category 2 around 8 a.m. tomorrow. So a lot going on. A lot is going on for the entire U.S., but for now, for just South Carolina, not too much except for just that flash flood and that heat. But that's going to wrap this up. If you have not hit the like button or the subscribe button, make sure you're going to do so. We're at 549 subscribers, 1 subscriber away from 550, which is the halfway mark, and 51 subscribers away from 600. If you want to go on and leave a message inside the chat, you actually have to be subscribed as well. Top fans for tonight, which for some reason is not loading, but I'm pretty sure I got it. There we go. Mr. Grace is at number 1, Trail is at number 2, and Thad is at number 3. Congratulations to the 3 of y'all for being the top fans for tonight. If you want to be a part of that top fan, you have to obviously be active inside the chat, and you have to be here early. But that's it. I will be back tomorrow morning for your Wednesday morning, going into, obviously, your forecast for tomorrow.